So this video here is going to help us with a refresher on how to do long division. So we have the steps over here that we're going to basically be doing on repeat when we do our long division, and I want to make sure that we have a refresher so that we can do our long division correctly. So when we are doing a problem, something simple like just 7 divided by 8 here, the first step that we have to do is we have to set it up correctly. We need to know that when we're dividing, the dividend here is actually going to flip spots because 8 is going to be on the outside while 7 is going on the inside of our long division here. So when we're doing this here, we have steps 2 through 6 that we're basically going to be doing over and over again until we're finished. And I'll tell you how we know when we're done in just a little bit. First step here is the division part. So how many times does it go in? So what I mean by that is how many times does the number on the outside here, the divisor, go into the number on the inside? So how many times does 8 go into 7? Now, it doesn't go into 7. So what's really important is to keep our columns really straight and neat on here, because if we are sloppy and keep moving things around, we may not get the right place value in our answers. So the next thing we got to do is we have to remember that in the dividend here of 7, 7 is the same thing as 7.0. And when we're doing division and we still have a remainder here, because trying to find out how many times 8 goes into 7, we first have to multiply 8 times 0, which is 0. Then we need to subtract. 7 minus 0 is 7. Then we need to bring down another number. Before, when we don't have this decimal and a 0, we don't have another number to bring down. So we got to remember that 7 is the same as 7.0. So when we get to this fifth step of bringing down another number, we're only really going to be finished when we have a remainder of 0, or we realize that we're going to end up getting a repeating decimal. So in this one, we're bringing down a 0 here and really seeing, okay, how many times does 8 go into 70? Another important part when we're doing our long division is that we need to know that the decimal in the dividend is going to match up with a decimal in our quotient. So now when we're saying how many times does 8 go into 70, we're in the tenths place value. So 8 goes into 70 8 times. So we know that 8 times 8 is 64. And then we're going to subtract and get 6. Then we're going to bring down the next number, which again we can add another 0 here. One thing that's really helpful when we get into these long division problems, especially if we're struggling with this multiply or this division piece, is to list out the multiples of our divisor here. It's going to be really helpful, and I'll show you why. So now when we're doing this division piece and we're trying to figure out, okay, how many times does 8 go into 60? If that doesn't come to us off the top of our head, if we have our multiples listed here, we can really just go back to our chart and say, okay, which number is closest to 60 but still below it? So, okay, 60 would land right here. So I know 64 is too big, so it really should be going in 7 times. Now I know if I'm going to be choosing that number up here, the next step is going to be multiplying, and now I have my answer already ready for me. 8 times 7 is 56, as it says in my chart. Then I'm moving on to the subtract piece, where I subtract 60 minus 56, which gives me 4. Now I'm going on step 5 and bringing down another 0. Then I'm saying how many times does 8 go into 40? So I'm back to the division piece. And now I look through my chart, I see, oh, 8 goes into 40 5 times. So I've done the division, I multiply 8 times 5, which is 40. I subtract, which I get 0. Do I need to bring down another number? No, I don't, because we already have a 0 remainder, and there's no more numbers that we need to bring down. So now we're finished, and we know that 7 divided by 8 is going to give us the answer of 0.875.